Mix 104.1.
Yes, Chuck Fleischmann, sir.
Congressman, how you doing?
I am doing great, sir. It was so good to see you yesterday, or actually a couple of days ago in Bradley County. Yes, sir.
I was heading into Aubrey's for my father-in-law's birthday dinner, and Congressman Fleischmann was obviously talking with someone important in the parking lot. And
It was you.
Well, no. And then, and my son got to meet you, and he was glad to meet you. Well, hey, Congressman, I know it's an extremely busy morning for you, live from Washington.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about what's about to happen. Of course, the nation is watching your chamber, the House of Representatives, and of course, we're talking about this federal spending bill. Speaker Mike Johnson now quoted as saying he's not happy with what the Senate has sent to the House. I want to get your initial thoughts on this bill that you guys are going to vote on.
Well, thank you, Steve. I've spoken with so many people about this bill, including President Trump, as recently as a couple of weeks ago. Let's face it, we have two great bodies in our legislative branch, the House in which I serve, and I'll be on the House floor at 9 o'clock this morning working on things, and our United States Senate, a more deliberative body. They changed the House bill, and we're fortunate, barely fortunate, to get it over a 50-50 threshold with the Vice President's tie-breaking vote yesterday. That bill hung in abeyance literally for several days. Whether or not they could get it done, they did. Now the House will basically compare the original House version with the Senate bill as passed and see whether or not we can get to yes within the next day or two. Several things could, in fact, happen. There could be some changes made. There could be a vote up or a vote down. I am on what we call, Steve, the whip team. It means I help our team count votes. I have, and I will always tell your constituents and you the truth, I've already whipped yes. I told the president I would be yes, and I will be yes. My big concern is that we keep taxes low on hardworking Americans. I don't believe we should be divided as Americans on our ability to earn income. I want everybody to have that great American dream that you did, that I did, to work hard and to prosper. But it's going to be a busy couple of days, and I'll be here working around the clock to try to get it done.
We're joined by Congressman Chuck Fleischmann, and Congressman reports this morning that the Republicans are about 20 votes shy, something like that, is the estimate at this point. And one reason, of course, we're hearing from some of your colleagues like Andy Ogles and Chip Roy and others this morning and last night who are saying that look, the bill that you sent to the I should say the Senate bill is $3.3 trillion in deficit spending compared to the House's $2.8 trillion in deficit spending. So that's quite a bridge there, Congressman.
It is. And once again, bear this in mind, Steve, we received no Democratic support in the House or the Senate on this bill. And that's unfortunate. The Democrats would like to see taxes raised on hardworking Americans. I won't stand for that. So on the core values, Republican moderates, conservatives, and center-right folks like myself are united to keep those tax cuts in place, to make sure that we have some of the energy initiatives. But there are some bona fide differences. We have a great conference, a great Republican conference. I'm in the Republican study group. That's the center-right group. But we have a group to the left of us, and we have a group to the right of us. And we're all one big happy family, but every once in a while, we have these internal debates. We will have them over the next couple of days. But I do think we will get there. But in the unlikely event that we don't, we will keep working towards getting it done.
We're joined by Congressman Chuck Fleischmann. Just a couple of more questions. I know you got a lot to do up there in the nation.
I'm wide open. I'm at our great Republican club. I wanted to be able to I was so privileged to be on your show this morning and so glad to see you the other day. As you know, Steve, I spend so much time in Bradley County. I live in Ottawa, but I was at Aubrey's with you. I love all the eateries up there. Bradley County is beautiful and growing. I think it's about 116,000 population now, and I just love Bradley County. So I'm just glad to be with you this morning.
Congressman, I appreciate that. Let me bring up something else that's getting a lot of attention. Get your reaction to it, and that is that they're talking about the cuts to Medicaid and the cuts to SNAP,
Yes.
which of course is the old food stamps. But reports here in this state say that 250,000 Tennesseans could lose Medicaid coverage just with this bill. Your reaction to that this morning?
Certainly. Medicaid has needed reform for years. There's a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse. It's rampant. Sadly, it's throughout all of the major mandatory programs. I wish we could go in and get rid of the waste, fraud, and abuse so that good, honest, hardworking Americans who need these programs could get them, but and get their just benefits. But outside of waste, fraud, and abuse, Republicans believe, and I believe, that there's a lot of able-bodied people out there who could and should be working in lieu of getting certain federal benefits, and I think the vast majority of Americans are with us. Let's face it, if somebody absolutely needs these programs, we want these safety nets in place, but the drivers of our debt, you talked about the trillions of dollars of debt that are out there on these spending bills that are out there. All of that is a drop in the bucket when you look at what we are spending on our mandatory programs. That's Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, interest on the national debt, some other federal programs. 85% of Obamacare was tucked in under the mandatory side of the equation. What does that mean for our listeners? That means that happens automatically. What does that mean in terms of practicality? When I went to Congress in 2011, the national debt was $15 trillion. It's $36 trillion now, and it is going to continue to grow unabated. That is a fact. And if a Republican, Democrat, or Independent tells you anything different, they're not shooting you straight. And the reason it's going to continue is because of the mandatory spending programs. So addressing Medicaid was important, and candidly, Steve, it was the only one of the three that anybody politically wanted to touch.
Congressman Fleischmann, all right, so if you will, for us lay people out here, the public, walk us through the schedule, what we need to be watching as everybody's tuned into this to see, to watch this process today in the United States House of Representatives.
Excellent question. I was asked to come in yesterday by our leadership. I did that. This morning, we should have procedural votes. I'm not going to say votes that don't count, but these are votes that basically set the scene or set the stage for the final vote. We do that in the House. The Senate does that as well, but in a very different way. So they will be procedural votes that we typically call the rule, and that has got to pass by a majority, okay? And that probably will pass. The rule will pass. Then anticipate hours and or days of debate within both parties. We won't get any Democratic votes. We know that. They've told us that. The Dems are wrong, but at least they're honest about that. In the Senate and the House, anything great that President Trump comes up with, they'll be against because they just don't like Trump. You saw that at the State of the Union address. They just won't. Play. They're a no. I think they'll be punished for that in the midterms, but that's another story for another day. Having said that, watch where the Republican whip count is as people become public. I'm a yes. Okay, so so once you're a yes, you're known as a yes. Watch the no's. You mentioned, will there be 20 no's? Probably by the end of the day, they'll be down to about 10. Okay, maybe less, depending on what gets done. And then we probably will not, and this is a yes, go to the floor until we have the votes to pass it, because that's an exercise in futility. And candidly, it hurts politically. You want to go to the floor when you know you've got the votes and it's going to pass. You don't want to go to the floor and lose a vote. And those things have happened in the past. They're embarrassing. They hurt politically. So we've got work to do. I've got work to do. My gut feeling is ultimately we will get it done. But there are major differences between the House and Senate bills, and we're going to try to get there.
And finally, Congressman Chuck Fleischmann, live from Washington, the president imposed a deadline of Independence Day, July 4th, which is this Friday. Does it get on his desk this Friday, in your opinion?
We hope so, but the president 2 days ago did put out a post basically saying that is an ideal situation. He would like that. I will stay here to make sure that gets done. If it doesn't, he did say he would be amenable to waiting a couple of weeks in order to work out some differences. He does want it done on the 4th. I want it done on the 4th. But if we miss the 4th deadline, he's already told folks in both chambers that we could wait till after the 4th, and he would be amenable to signing it after the 4th.
Congressman Chuck Fleischmann, Congressman, I really appreciate your time on a very momentous day in this country. Thank you, sir.
My pleasure, and please tell everybody in Bradley County I love you all. I love your county, and I spend as much time in Bradley as I do Hamilton, and I love both counties. But, wow, what has gone on in your county? And, Steve, you're a big part of that over the last couple of decades. It is a great place to live. It's a great place to visit, and God bless you all.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate
Bye
it,
now.
Congressman. Thank you. It is 3 minutes before the hour. News is next.
Visit Cleveland Ford for below Ford factory employee pricing. No pay.